to 12 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Avantcard, powered by MasterCard.
This is News Talk.
Now then, you're very welcome along to Off the Ball this evening. We'll be talking to Ronan O'Gara just around 7:30 as he embarks on a new season as head coach at La Rochelle. We'll have Shane Dowling with us after 8 o'clock, scorer of one of the great Croke Park goals. Unfortunately for him and for Limerick, they came out the wrong side against Kilkenny, but he's going to talk to us nonetheless. And Dave McIntyre is here in studio, everyone. Very exciting times. 53106, the text number. Hello, Dave.
Good evening.
Richie McCormack here as ever. Didn't forget about you.
Thanks, Joe. It's very kind of you.
You're not an afterthought.
No, sure, everything's an afterthought, Joe, compared to the finale for Love Island, which took place last night.
Oh, wow.
Which has basically taken up most of your thinking for the past 24 hours. You've been a distracted man.
Were you watching it throughout the series?
I didn't miss a show.
Did you hear that? Didn't miss a show.
I am not in a position.
I really hope the mics picked up the laughs that came from the other side of the glass there.
Because we did not miss a single minute of last season's show. We got, unfortunately, roped in. That's not the right word. We got sucked into it very early, and then we felt we just couldn't escape, so we saw it through. So to avoid that this time around, we didn't watch a single minute of it. So I have no idea who won. I know it's an Irish dude, but I'm glad to say this season passed me by in its entirety.
I think next year I'll be in that boat. I think this was my swan song.
Did I hear right? There's 2 seasons lined up for next year?
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah. They're
going autumn, winter, and then a summer one as well.
Southern Hemisphere, they're going to go to South Africa for January, again with the British and Irish contestants, and then they're going to do the one in Mallorca in the summer.
Right.
So, either they think this thing will just go on for at least the next 5 years and it's amazing, or maybe they're sensing this is at the end, so let's try and milk it next year.
Oh, they're milking this dry.
Yeah, maybe this is.
It's great TV.
Is it, Dave?
It is, Richie.
Dave.
Look, I'm not saying this paints me in much of a great light at all. I'm just telling you, as I see it, we watched last season from start to finish, and it was great TV.
It's great TV.
I've no frame. I've literally never watched an episode.
It's just really well done. It's compelling.
In what way?
Well, it's just like the ultimate people watching in life speeded up, and you get to hear their conversations.
Joe, I don't know if you know this, but I live literally like 2 minutes away from Northside Shopping Centre.
Yeah.
That's people watching.
No, I'm sure.
On a different level.
I don't know. I don't know why it's so good.
Just as many people with their tops off as well.
What's your theory, Dave? Why is it good?
I haven't
put enough.
enough,
but it's good.
I haven't put enough thought into it to, theorise over it. But
I look forward to the Dave McIntyre thesis.
I was fascinated by how quickly people were able to generate feelings of love for each other, and knowing that the whole thing was going to implode. That kind of had me on the edge, because I knew these two are telling each other they're soulmates.
Yeah, but how much do they get to come in?
A lot of money.
25 grand each.
Listen, I'd tell anybody I love them for 25 grand.
The thing is, they're all making like that for an appearance at a nightclub the following week, so it's not actually that much money. And in the context of them just getting in, I think it's worth the guts of, I was reading at the weekend, someone had it in the paper, they're making the guts of $500,000 over the next 6 months each, sterling.
See, I just envisage, the Office Christmas special, where Brent's going around appearing in nightclubs, and they're like, what have you got planned? He's just like,
I would doubt it's much different to that.
I would say the final days are like that. Like I'd say you have to hit rock bottom, and it's a painful last month or two before you do. I've no doubt. But when you first come out, man, you're hot property, and they're all so shrewd these days. Like they're all getting photo shoots done before they go in now, and then they know that when they're in the villa, that'll do big business. So then they have an agent selling those photos during like week 2, and it's fresh content for the papers, blah, blah, blah.
I'm in the wrong business.
Oh, totally in the wrong business.
I should just get in, set up as one of these people's agents.
There's a sinister side to it as well, because the amount of fame that these people are met with when they leave, they're unable to handle it. And there's been awful stories and awful tragedy around these sorts of shows over the last few years. I know the producers and the makers of these types of shows have tried to put things in place whereby psychologically these people are better prepared for what's going to meet them when they do leave. But look, it's not too often that Off the Ball has led with Love Island, but I absolutely remember it being the case this time last year.
Right. I don't remember.
Because I was on the show at the time, and I was also confessing to the fact that I had watched it minute for minute.
Yeah.
Joe was a Love Island talking head on the Hard Shoulder, for God's sake. That's how big it's become.
I did go on the Hard Shoulder and talk about Love Island with Ivan. That's no joke.
How many times has he won the Sport Broadcaster of the Year award?
Never again.
It's that kind of versatility, Dave, that gets you over the line.
So, let's leave Love Island for now, reluctantly.
From Love Island to Laois.
Let's get into the news round. Where are we starting?
We do start with Laois. Their football manager, John Sugrue, has stepped down after 2 years in charge. This news breaking over the last half hour or so. The Kerry native guided the O'Moores to successive promotions from Division 4 up to Division 2 during his spell in charge. Laois also reached last year's Leinster final and got as far as round 4 in the qualifiers in each of Sugrue's years in charge. The Laois County Board have wished Sugrue well for his next role, and he is the 9th inter-county manager in football to leave their position this summer, which seems quite an incredible number.
Of all the managers that have left their positions since their sides have exited the championship, this is the departure that surprises me the most, because he has brought Laois on a huge amount since he took over, and I don't think if he is interested in getting back into an inter-county role, I don't think there's going to be any shortage of offers for John Sugrue, because they play a really good brand of football as well. And I think he'll have been really disappointed by the way that they went out against Cork. Didn't play well and probably outclassed by a side they're going to be a division above next year. But I don't think anyone in Laois would be happy to see him leave.
Elsewhere. Yeah, the 9th one just seems massive numbers. Anyway, executive recruitment agency AMROP have been tasked with selecting the independent directors for the new 12-person FAI board. 4 positions are going to be advertised in 3 national newspapers over the course of the weekend. They'll include the role of independent non-executive chairperson. It follows the election of Donald Conway as president and Paul Cook as vice president, along with 6 directors from the football family at last weekend's AGM in Trim. Celtic are going to confirm their place in the 3rd qualifying round of the Champions League this evening. There was a 6 o'clock start to their 2nd qualifying round, 2nd leg in Estonia, where it's currently Namakalu 0, Celtic 1, an own goal putting Celtic in front on the night and 6-0 ahead on aggregate. Elsewhere this evening, Dundalk are going to discover their potential 3rd round opponents. It looks as though a trip to Cyprus awaits whoever comes through tomorrow night's tie in Baku, as Apoel Nicosia lead the Montenegrin champion Suceska by 2-0 and 3-0 on aggregate. Dundalk and Karabakh tied at 1 apiece ahead of tomorrow's 2nd leg in Baku.
Jeez, lads, that's a fair old tan on Dave McIntyre, says Tom. It sure is, Tom. Dave McIntyre's had the golfing week from heaven, believe it or not. He's gone down with his celebrity friends. Keith Andrews, Mossy Quinn, Kieran Donaghy.
No, we never met Star down there. Didn't work out.
Oh, you call him Star, sorry.
I never met Mr. Donaghy when we were down there.
So you went down to a part of the world I've never been to, but like is spectacularly famous when it comes to golf courses. Give people the hit list and give them your rankings.
We play over 3 days. So we played 4 rounds in 3 days. We played Waterville, Dukes, Tralee, and the Killeen course, the Irish Open course in Killarney. So it was 18 holes, 36 holes, and 18 holes. And
how was the body after all that?
By the Tuesday night, when we played 36 holes and walked off the 18th in Tralee in almost near darkness, we were wiped, absolutely exhausted. And we actually thought the restaurant was closed, the bar was closed. They pulled out all the stops to feed us. We could barely see. We were so tired and so hungry. They were really it was amazing. But I would like the views around Tralee are like something out of a Lord of the Rings movie. Like they're jaw-dropping. You can't even begin to describe them to somebody else. They just have to go and see them in and around the back nine. Like the rock formations, the little inlets. It looks like there's a little lagoon there, like from a different tropical climate altogether. And the golf course itself is brilliant, but the views are just breathtaking. That, I think the views there are probably better than any golf course in the world. If I had to rank them, and I enjoyed every single round immensely, maybe Waterville. It's a magical spot. Tralee, spectacular. Dukes is just a phenomenal golf course.
I don't know that at all.
No one has ever heard of it. When we started considering putting this trip together, I kind of threw in the old cliched Google search of hidden gems of the Southwest. That was near the top of the list.
Okay.
And it's just a brilliant place to play golf. And again, the views, spectacular.
Links,
right. Water everywhere in terms of what you can see. And then it was a nice respite to play a bit of parkland golf on the Wednesday morning, because you're, as much as you're enjoying places like Tralee and Waterville, you're grinding. You want to play well. You have to try and put the ball in the right places. If you lose it left or right, there's a very good chance you're not going to find it. Whereas parkland in most places, you can just about hack it back onto the fairway. But we enjoyed Killeen as well. It's in great nick at the moment. It was a great kind of 3 or 4 hours. So look, as a golf obsessive yourself, Joe, it's something I would advise you doing. It's a great feeling to wake up in the morning knowing that you're going to eat breakfast, play one of the top ranked courses in the country, and have a few pints. And then do the same tomorrow.
I'm not used to hearing Dave on the radio these days, says Paul in Cork. It's usually the Dadcast podcast. Is he going to tell a heartwarming story about his kids' toilet habits? How's that going?
I'm not sure I've ever told a heartwarming story about my kids' toilet habits. How's it going? Look, as you say, this is normally the sort of material that's kept for the Dadcast, which is recorded every Friday and can be downloaded on all your usual podcast avenues. It's going great. We're immensely proud of the second little man who has come through the whole process with flying colours.
He took to it instantly.
Oh, amazing. Unbelievable. Took a couple of weeks and we were out the gap.
He's like a prodigy.
The potty training.
Yeah.
Yeah, youngest lad's the same as that.
So I think the younger guy's always going to do it a little more quickly and a little better than the first because he has an inspiration. He sees what his big bro is doing day in, day out. And it's not just specific to toilet training, it's to ride a bike, get on your scooter, talking, everything.
See, I'm the eldest in my family, so you have to...
So you were slow, essentially.
Slow, yeah. You have to kick down each milestone. Takes a bit of time. So is this always the way? Is it the same with yours?
Yeah, well, yeah. Second in our case is a bit of a special case, but the third's like flowing with everything. Chatting, peeing in the jacks.
And is getting the eldest one to use the potty tough, yeah? Is that like, what happens? Just go whenever?
Well, I don't have any girls, but boys are lazy.
Yeah.
Just couldn't be bothered.
Getting to the jacks, it's like going upstairs and actually finding a toilet. It's just too much effort.
So
it's
if
like
they need to take a dump, they just do it on the floor, would they?
Well, no, not necessarily, but they'll leave it as late as they possibly can. If you're in the middle of something really interesting that's really floating your boat,
building some Lego, for instance,
you have two options. One is to go to the toilet and pause or whatever you're engaged in, or just do it in your pants and continue. You know, it's a toss of a coin.
Yeah.
Dave came across the same problems when he was playing golf last week.
Yeah.
Talk about lowering the tone.
Sorry.
Could I hate Dave more, says Dara.
Jesus.
Hang on, there's context.
It's a very harsh opening.
That's not full stop. It is a harsh opening. Could I hate Dave more? I'm not sure. The man works, 2 days a week? He rocks in the studio tanned and full of tales of golf in heaven. He makes me sick. You know where the door is, Dave.
Well, to be fair, Dave's tanned like in November. It's coming in here with the guns out usually anyway as well. So.
And you were at Croke Park on Saturday?
I was. What a game that was.
Yeah, we've got Shane Dowling on the way later on. The goal was just a moment.
Yeah, it was pretty special. It's up there with the best Croke Park goals of the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
The finish was stupid, really, in a lot of ways. I'm not sure many players in the country would have taken it on other than Shane Dowling. But, looking forward to hearing what he says on it. Hats off to Kilkenny because they were phenomenal. That first 20 minutes is, it's a testament to the players and to what Brian Cody's able to get out of this group of players because Limerick just couldn't cope with them. But at the end of the day, if Limerick had just, 5 opportunities to draw level, didn't take any of them. None of them were gimmies or anything.
Yeah.
But the amount of horrific wides they hit, top-class forwards like Mulcahy, Gillan, Casey, that you would expect them to take on any other day. Now, Kilkenny fans would say, well, that's because there was an inordinate amount of pressure being put on the players as they were taking some of these shots on, but you can't say that for all of them. Some of them were just really poor wides.
Yeah.
And I think Limerick will take a while to get over that because I absolutely would have backed them to win the final had they got to it, and they left a lot behind them. But Kilkenny, I wrote them off against Cork, no chance. Didn't give them a chance of beating Limerick. I'm going to keep my mouth shut going into the All-Ireland final because Kilkenny are just a remarkable team.
Lads, during a Reddit Q&A a few years back, Bill Murray was asked where was the most beautiful place in the world, and he replied Tralee Golf Club. That's a proper endorsement, says a texter. And then Noel says, in the words of one Kenny Cunningham, this is an all-time low. He could be talking about anything here. Is he talking about the potty training or the Love Island discussion?
Just generally having David.
Just generally.
Yeah.
So where are we going next? Galway races?
Ballybridge, the Joseph O'Brien trained Numerian is the favourite for the Colin Quinn BMW Mile Handicap, which is the feature on day 2 of the Galway Festival. That is off at 20-8. Aidan and Donnacha O'Brien combined for 3-1 shot Petite Mystique to win the Irish EBF Fillies Maiden there this evening. The Latin Quarter Beginners Chase was won by 2-1 favourite, 2-1 on favourite, I should say, 0-10. While the first race of the evening, the Novice Hurdle, was won by 2-1 favourite Fast Book for trainer Willie Mullins. In the past few minutes as well, the Caulfield Industrial Irish EBF Maiden has been won by the 5-1 chance Rita Levi. Elsewhere at Ballybris today, cast of thousands really on this morning's OTB AM, one of whom was Michael Meehan, the Galway football legend, who's been looking ahead to the final weekend of the Super 8s, and particularly the game in Omagh, which he feels could be the ideal stage for one Con O'Callaghan.
I think Con O'Callaghan is about to score 3-3. You know, he's just that close to really exploding. Oman might be the place to do it, but I just think he's sensational, and he's so dangerous and everything. Immediately when he gets the ball, you know he wants to go for a goal. That's what it is
60
for.
yards out,
And it's great to see. It brings everything to life.
It's funny, Jack McCaffrey has the same thing, and he gets the ball in the half back line, like, ooh, there's a goal on here. As Kildare supporters, we're used to that. It's like, oh, Jesus, he's about to score a goal here. Yeah.
What is it exactly about that, about what Conor O'Callaghan is doing, except for, putting on about 1 million tons of muscle this year and getting bigger, winning his own ball? He's much better at that now. And I guess Paul Mannion, I think, has actually got even better again this year, despite having the season of his life last year. What is it about that partnership?
I think it's just, I suppose, more than any other county, there's a huge expectation on Andy Moran for Mayo when he comes in, maybe on Damien Comer if we had him this year, or when we've had him. There's a huge expectation on 1 or 2 forwards in teams, to really deliver. But Dublin, it's much more than, like, we haven't mentioned Kieran Kilkenny and all the work he's done in the past and what he's doing. But so they're being man-marked, obviously, and maybe sweepers will come and play, but they can't just look after the 2 guys. There's so much more going on. They have to spread themselves out. A backline or a defensive unit has to spread themselves around a little bit more.
That is OTBAM, our sports breakfast show that's on every weekday morning from 7:45 a.m. You'll find it on offtheball.com, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook, so you can start your day with Off the Ball and see our social channels for full broadcast details.
JP just typed through during that, dreamy Michael Meehan.
He's a handsome man, isn't he?
He's a dreamboat, all right.
He's ageing very well.
He's still only in his 20s, isn't he? He seems that way.
He looks it. Where we go next?
To Chelsea, who've banned a fan from Stamford Bridge for life for using racially abusive language and threatening and aggressive behaviour. It relates to that Premier League match with Manchester City last December, after which Raheem Sterling complained about comments directed towards him. 5 further individuals have been temporarily excluded from attending Chelsea games, home matches that is, for between 1 and 2 years. An interesting story developing. Manchester United have emerged as front runners to sign Paulo Dybala from Juventus. The Argentine's agent has travelled to England to open discussions about a potential transfer. Dybala is believed to want to remain at Juve and is due to hold discussions with head coach Maurizio Sarri later this week. However, a swap deal involving Romelu Lukaku is on the cards, with United and Inter unable to reach an agreement on a fee for the big Belgian striker.
That wouldn't be the worst bit of business for Manchester United. They're having yet another underwhelming transfer window.
They are. I just don't know where Dybala fits in. There's no doubting his talent. He's a fabulous footballer. He's a thoroughbred type of a player who can just dominate games if given the ball in the right areas of the field. But I just wonder, will he fall into a similar category to Juan Varane, Angel Di Maria, Paul Pogba? Brilliant footballers. You can't question their talent or even their commitment if the situation is right. I would hate to think that Dybala might arrive at Old Trafford and leave in 2 years for half the fee, having not impressed at all. And let's just say Manchester United have not had many successful transfers since Alex Ferguson left.
It just strikes me as the kind of transfer that would be made by the hierarchy at Manchester United to keep a certain element of the fans quiet and go, look, we brought in this Argentine superstar.
Has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer pinpointed a Paulo Dybala type player as the missing piece to his attacking jigsaw?
Probably not.
Presuming they want to hold on to Paul Pogba and they want to bring in Dybala. I don't see how those two coexist in that midfield, and behind whom.
Well, look, there are ways and means to achieve anything, and it definitely, from a United supporters' point of view, the arrival of Paulo Dybala at Old Trafford is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's a brilliant footballer. How things transpire after that remains to be seen. I don't think many United fans would be too upset to see Romelu Lukaku going through the exit door. It would give an opportunity to Rashford to be told, right, you are leading the line from the very start. You are the number 1 centre forward. Go and get your goals. You don't score for a few games, you're not going to be pushed to the left wing or the right wing or to the bench. We have 100% an absolute faith in you. And maybe that would be a very good thing as well. If they get, look, I know they were holding out for 80 million for Lukaku. You get something close to that, you absolutely
just take it. It's not working out for him.
But I don't know if Lukaku's up to the Juventus standard.
Well, look, if they want to take him, they can have him. That's how Manchester United fans feel, I would think. And the word from pre-season camp is that we're seeing a new Anthony Martial. This is the year.
I feel like I've heard this about 3 or 4 times already, and he hasn't even been there that long.
I know.
Look, the answers to the United situation are, most of which will have to come from within. Solskjaer was only in the door and he was questioning their fitness and conditioning levels, so they have no excuse now. He's had his clause in the door for 6 months now. You expect to see a far hungrier, fitter, sharper Manchester United, capable of playing a much higher tempo game, much better pressing game, and you would think that he will then be able to get the best out of the players that he has, and I think their attitude might be a bit different as well. So if they were to sign Dybala, as well as the couple of youngsters that they've picked up in the last 2 months, a few of the academy players have impressed an awful lot on their pre-season tour, and you get David De Gea to sign a new contract, hasn't been the worst transfer window for them.
But what you're looking at there, their main problem is not necessarily that they haven't brought anybody in, bar a potential Dybala. It's the fact that we sat here 6 months ago, possibly less, and said, and could possibly pick through about 6, 7, 8, maybe more United players in that squad that, on an ideal basis for them, needed to be shipped out. I don't think many of them have gone.
No, they haven't. And they are going to need a squad, though.
Because they've bought in these players on huge money that other clubs are now unwilling to match. And those players are happy to sit in and go, well, much like Arbella, I'm getting my money.
Yeah.
Why would I want to head anywhere else?
Yeah, the lesser lights in that squad, a lot of them are of good character. As I'm talking about the likes of an Ashley Young, a Phil Jones, a Chris Smalling, guys who are nowhere near the standard required to be winning a Premier League or a Champions League, but to play in the Thursday night in the Europa League, which they're probably going to be doing this season, possibly will be doing the following season as well. They're not necessarily bad guys to have around. You wouldn't have them in your Premier League team every week. And if Harry Maguire, for example, was to come in on the top of a Dybala and a De Gea contract, and the younger faces have been brought into the squad, not the worst transfer window they've had. But not an overwhelming success either.
The season started in a week and a bit.
Idrissa Gueye has gone to Paris.
Yeah, Everton busy in the transfer market today. They've sold Idrissa Gueye to Paris Saint-Germain for €32 million, and Everton will almost certainly reinvest all of that money in Juventus striker Moise Kean. The 19-year-old is going to head to Goodison Park for €30 million plus another $10 million in various add-ons, and Juve are going to have the first option on him should he decide to leave Everton at some stage. Wes Hoolahan's next club won't be in England or Scotland, it seems. The former Republic of Ireland midfielder decided against signing for Cambridge United after a trial with the English League Two side, and News manager Colin Calderwood says Hoolahan will likely ply his trade outside of British football.
I think there's something in the pipeline that's has obviously changed the situation with ourselves. So as big a blow it is one of them. We can't disguise that. I would have loved to have him here, and the players would certainly have loved to have him around as well. They certainly enjoyed him being here. But we have to be aware that Wes might not have been fit on some occasions and may not have played. So it's how we play without a Wes Hoolahan. But the qualities that he has only reinforce my belief about what's right for a team, any team, and a team that has to be successful.
Okay, last story or two before we get to Mr. O'Gara.
Yeah, Wolves have completed the signing of striker Patrick Crotone from AC Milan. The 21-year-old signed a 4-year contract at Molineux, and he's believed to have cost €18 million plus another 4 in add-ons. Crotone scored 27 times in 90 games for Milan. While South African middle distance runner Caster Semenya won't be allowed to defend her 800 metres world title in Qatar this autumn, it's after a judge reinstated a temporary suspension over controversial IAAF regulations that require female competitors with naturally elevated testosterone levels to undergo hormonal drug intervention. Semenya continues to appeal the ruling, which stops her from racing without medication. And Andy Murray says he could return to singles action next month. The former world number one's been easing back into the two tennis by playing doubles after having potentially career-saving hip surgery, but Murray says he's looking at playing in the singles at the Cincinnati Masters next month with one eye on a potential US Open wildcard. This week he plays in the doubles in Washington with his brother Jamie.
Okay, good. That's our newsround for this evening. After 8 o'clock, Shane Dowling with us. Up next we have Ronan O'Gara.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Brought to you by Avantcard, powered by MasterCard.
Get cash back on your everyday spend with the Avantcard Reward Plus credit card. Avantcard DAC